Kevin Durant's one of the greatest scorers in NBA history, and even though he's 34 right now, his jumper is as unguardable as it was before his Achilles injury in 2019. But have you ever wondered which players Durant grew up watching and took inspiration from? If you have, then look no further, because we're going to be telling you exactly that in this video. Let's get right into it. First up, KD names the 3 people who inspired his game while he was growing up. When Durant was speaking to Jamal Crawford on NBA TV, the two talked about a bunch of things, including which players the Slim Reaper looked up to the most when he was growing up. Kevin said that his game's been most heavily influenced by Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Tracy McGrady, though he highlighted that T-Mac stood out to him the most. The reason for this was that KD felt they both have a similar body type, and Durant also loved Tracy's signature pull-up and just tried to take it from him. He added that he used to try his best to watch McGrady play as much as possible in order to study his movements and emulate everything he saw. Following that, Kevin told Crawford about how when he was in his freshman year, T-Mac and the Rockets once had a training camp at his university's practice facility, and getting to watch his idol play in the flesh was a super memorable moment in his career. Though more diehard fans might have already known about the fact KD took a lot of inspiration from T-Mac. Back in the 2017 finals, Durant was speaking to Rachel Nichols and Tracy, and the entire time he had a huge smile on his face. Kevin got to tell McGrady to his face that he was the dude he modeled his game after, and it was a really wholesome moment. Next up, who does KD try to emulate at this point in his career? Following Brooklyn's win against the Hornets on the 7th of December, Durant spoke to reporters about how much players like Kobe and Michael Jordan mean to him. The conversation came up because Hornets coach Steve Clifford compared KD to Bryant. The Slim Reaper was really appreciative of Clifford's comparison and started by highlighting that even though Kobe's shoes are insanely tough to fill, he still studies the Black Mamba's game to this day in an attempt to become as good as him. He went as far as to say he just tries to copy everything Bryant did, and added that he does the same with Jordan. Why does he do that? Because according to KD, both of them set the tone for everything you want to be as a basketball player. The reporters then asked the 2-time champ about the most important thing he learned from Bryant, to which KD said, "Really, just don't be a crybaby." Kevin talked about how when he was 23, he thought the world revolved around him, but after he saw the way Kobe approached the game, he learned that he needs to humble himself and look at things from a different perspective. He finished by emphasizing once again that Bryant and Mike are the 2 guys he tries to emulate both on and off the court, since he knows that'll make him much better as a player and a person. Coming up, what was the comparison that Clifford made? Everyone knows Kobe had an insane work ethic, and Durant's no different, as he's always trying to become the best version of himself. That's exactly what Steve highlighted, as he said that both athletes are really similar in terms of how hard they work. Plus, he highlighted that Kevin, much like Bryant, is a student of the game. He even pointed out how KD's just as passionate about basketball as the Black Mamba was. And most importantly, Clifford said that both players have always cared more about winning rather than having good individual numbers. As we told you earlier, the Slim Reaper loved every bit of this comparison, and we're sure it was music to his ears. Moving on, how did Durant react to getting validation from greats like MJ and Bryant? During the same interview with Jamal, the two revisited sound bites of Kobe and Mike, praising KD's high level of play, and naturally, KD said that the praise still gives him chills to this day. Durant added that he's always played for that validation from his peers, and that he's gonna keep working hard. He hopes that this will ensure the greats he's looking up to, like Jordan, T-Mac, and LeBron, can always say that these small forwards doing things the right way. Kevin even told Crawford that to earn the respect of such successful athletes is like winning a championship to him. Following that, let's compare KD's career with those of his idols. While it's great having idols, there's nothing better than looking back and thinking thinking to yourself that you've surpassed at least some of them. Starting with KD's accomplishments, so far he's a two-time champ, two-time Finals MVP, one-time League MVP, two-time All-Star Game MVP, and he's been selected to 12 All-Star Games. Plus, he has 10 All-NBA selections, 4 scoring titles, and even one 50-40-90 season, thanks to his efficient 2013 season. As you can see, he's had a storied career, and he's not even done yet. As for McGrady's achievements, he's a 7-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champion, and was selected to 7 All-NBA teams. Now for Kobe Bryant, he's a 5-time champ, 2-time Finals MVP, 18-time All-Star, and even has 1 League MVP, along with 4 All-Star Game MVPs. What's more, he's been selected to 15 All-NBA teams and 12 NBA All-Defensive teams. Oh, and he's led the league in scoring on 2 occasions as well. Then we have Jordan, who has 6 rings, 6 Finals MVPs, 5 League MVPs, 14 All-Star appearances, 3 All-Star Game MVPs, and 10 scoring titles. Not to mention, he made 11 All-NBA teams, 9 NBA All-Defensive teams, and is even a 1-time Defensive Player of the Year. Each career's impressive in its own right, but Jordan's is simply the best. So there's no comparison between him and Durant. As for Kobe, his rings and defense are what make his career just a bit better than KD's. But when it comes to T-Mac, it's safe to say Durant surpassed him ages ago. Now, let's talk about Durant's interview with the Washington Post. Starting off, Kevin makes it clear that he's just a pure hooper at heart. When Durant spoke to Michael Lee before the Warriors game on the 21st of December, he talked about how he had to ask himself how he could keep getting up with that feeling of enjoyment and excitement. And when he really thought about it, he realized he hasn't lost those feelings because he truly loves and enjoys hooping. He continued that he likes seeing the ball going through the rim on a consistent basis. He enjoys trying to improve his game, and he likes building with the team. According to the Slim Reaper, all of this gives him the joy that he craves and a kid-like energy whenever he walks into practice or an arena before games. Though he said that once those feelings go away, he's gonna call it quits straight away. That's why Kevin has long begged for some space to just hoop and have fun with it, rather than everything being taken so seriously or turned into a competition. Next up, why isn't Durant allowed to hoop in peace? Well, it's because he's one of the best basketball players in the entire world. So whenever he says or does something, all eyes are on him. But as the athlete said, there are pros and cons to everything. Though he said there are more pros in his life. In terms of the cons, he talked about how his life can be kind of crazy at times, since lots of fans and analysts scrutinize him over the smallest of things and try to downplay his achievements. For example, when it comes to his rings, many discredit them because he was on an insanely stacked roster and had a lot of help. As for KD's career outside of Golden State, people point to how he has no rings when he doesn't have a guy like Curry by his side. So it's just a lot of noise to deal with. The Slim Reaper also highlighted that once the Warriors won it all last season, he just knew that many people would just make it about him instead of the Dubs and start talking about how they did it without him. So now he's got to do it without them. Moving on, Kevin acknowledges that the game demands more than him being just a hooper. While KD was talking to Michael about the pros and cons of being one of the best in the world, he spoke about how even though he receives a lot of hate, it's still less than the amount of love he receives. He added that he's embracing the responsibility of focusing more on the positive, as well as understanding that he has way too much influence for him to just hoop without anyone saying anything to him. The Slim Reaper admitted he downplayed his influence in the past, but now he's trying his best not to do that. And the best part's that we got an example of this mid-interview. Lee noted that during the interview, an arena worker interrupted them and asked the two-time champ if he could record a message for his son. And of course, KD said yes. After all, he knows that with how much influence he has, something as simple as that could make another person's day. Finally, what else did the two talk about? One thing that was really interesting to us was the fact that KD emphasized he's strongly against putting all the pressure on himself. He understands that doing so just isn't worth it, because when he did, it took a terrible toll on his sanity. And if he's already being hated on by so many outsiders, such as Charles Barkley, then there's no need for him to be so hard on himself as well. Kevin has the whole world to hold him to a high standard, so instead, he's just focusing on working hard and doing what he does best, doing everything he can to win his team the championship. That's a wrap for this video. Do you guys see the similarities between KD and McGrady? Let us know in the comments below. As always, remember to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.